is up, you sexy ass motherfuckers? Welcome back to yet another Rome 2 Total War Siege battle. This battle was played by yours truly and a couple of friends versus some randoms. It was an extremely close battle and a very, very fun one to play, to say the least. It is also a very long battle, so make sure you guys have your snacks and drinks ready. You've jerked off a quick one. You've called your grandmother and tell her that you loved her. Really hope it wasn't while you were jerking off a quick one. You've done whatever you guys needed to do to be able to watch this long battle. Before the battle actually starts as well, I wanted to let you know that in exactly 3 days, I believe it's the 21st, in 3 days as of the release of this video on the 24th, there will be a tournament for the indie game Pixel Wars. It is a fast-paced, real-time strategy game where your main objective, or your only objective, is to destroy your opponent's castle before they destroy yours. It is a cash prize winning tournament too. Whoever wins the tournament comes in second place and comes in third place. So if you guys want a good chance of winning some of that cold hard cash paid to you by PayPal, then make sure you guys check it out. But either way, guys, let's go ahead and get into the battle. We're going to go ahead and start off with army comps here, but before we do so, I also wanted to go ahead and say, if you guys are liking this battle at all, if you guys love the content that I provide, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps me out tremendously, lets me know that my content isn't complete shite. And if you guys are feeling extra generous, make sure to hit that like button as well. It really helps me out with that YouTube algorithm and helps me to reach more of you sexy ass motherfuckers. Looking at the army compositions, we first have, starting off with my favorite faction, we've got Pontus, bringing in plenty of Pontic swordsmen, as it should be, in mercenary Celtic warriors. They do have a Eastern Scorpion in this battle, which is really cool to see. Cool to see some of this mobile artillery instead of the large stationary artillery. A little bit different. Definitely really cool to see for this battle. And then they do have archers and stuff hidden away as well. Looking over at the next army composition, we've got the Seleucids bringing in plenty of thorax swordsmen. We've got the Syrian heavy archers as well on their side, and I believe their general is a cav unit, but right now he is hidden. And last but certainly not least, we've got Swaby. There's, oh, Persian light archers. Okay, never mind. So we've got Persian light archers, not mercenary heavy Syrian archers. But looking over at Swaby's army composition, we have another portable artillery. We've got a German onager, an expensive artillery piece. I think around 1,520 gold. Please correct me down in the comments below, because I do not remember. But Swaby, another one of my favorite factions. Such a fun one to play as. And of course, we've got the Agama Cavalry General by the Seleucid player. We've got some Hex Bearers from Swaby. We've got Club Levy as well. Plenty of Club Levy, very powerful forces. And I believe we've got some Master Swordsmen, or whatever they're called. Sword Masters. There we go. Sword Masters as well. A very elite and powerful force indeed. Over on this side, we do have a little bit of a sally out. I will be playing as Massalia in this battle. I'm going to sally out a unit of Celtic warriors while I got my thorax swordsmen up above, being able to fire down, trying to take out as many troops as I possibly can. We've got our opponents, the attackers, charging in with some mercenary Celtic warriors to completely surround my Celtics, but I do have the support of the artillery here, as well as archer support and Theros-spear support, so we'll see how much damage we can actually do to these two units. Celtic warriors having 32 kills so far, losing men fairly rapidly, but they're doing their job and holding back our opponents for as long as possible. We're going to go ahead and go in slow motion here as the rest of the mercenary Celtic warriors start to get into that fight, so that way we can look at the rest of the army composition. So looking over at my army, I will be bringing a Peltas unit, 3 units of mercenary Gallic hunters. I was about to say Gallic warriors. I believe 7 units of Celtic warriors, 5 units of thorax swordsmen, 2 units of Theros spears, a ballista or a scorpion, And then a cavalry general wherever he may have gone. He's over here, and I'm bringing the Hippeus Lancer general. Looking over at Yaru's composition, playing as Syracuse, he's got 3 units of archers over here, plenty of units of thorax swordsmen, and 4 units of Thureos spears. 4, 5, 6, 7 units of Thureos spears. Beautiful to see. A couple units of Samnite warriors, and his general being back here is going to be a Hippeus Lancer unit as well. Last but certainly not least, we've got Axe Boys bringing in some Hillmen, bringing in some Eastern Archers, Cardii Axemen, regular Axemen, all of the good stuff. I think actually, yeah, he did bring some regular Axemen, but lots of Cardii and lots of Hillmen. And it looks like he's going to be fighting off against the Swaby players here primarily. Being the first within the city walls, we've got Swaby starting to move inside of here with a lot of their club levy, just trying to hoard the area. Now we've got Thorax Swordsmen starting to charge in. I've got my Celtic Warriors countercharging some of these Thorax Swordsmen, trying to get some kills, but these Thorax Swordsmen are going to stop and start trying to get some great flanking fire on my Celtic Warriors, and I'm going to start falling back from this position. Over here, we had lost this Celtic Warrior unit, but we had taken a lot of the Pontic units with us as well. Not fully killing them. As you can see, this Pontic Swordsman still has 44 men left, but severely weakening some of these units, which is always good to see if you're rooting for us, rooting for the defenders. 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Now, over here, we've got my Celtic Warriors starting to fall back. They got 97 men. They are being chased down by the forces of the Seleucid, but I've got Celtic Warriors here in the front line ready to hold the line and defend this little choke point for as long as we possibly can. My Thureos spear starting to fall back, holding this gate so that way it'll continue to fire on our opponents and doing as much damage as possible. And then I've got Massalian Theros spears as well as Celtic warriors moving around because I got some troops that are beginning to break, moving around to quickly reinforce this area and try to hold it for as long as possible. Now I'm going to keep swapping out these Celtic warriors to keep getting that charge bonus off and trying to get as many kills against these Thorax swordsmen as I possibly can. Having Thorax swordsmen a very well-rounded unit on the front line right off the bat is not bad, because they're certainly going to rack up a lot of kills against these lower tier units, but it's also good because we can utilize our lower tier units to kill more expensive units and do as much damage as we possibly can, so that way our higher tier units are better equipped to deal with whatever may come at us in the future. And close by, I do have a couple of units, or I do have a unit of Axemen here ready to support me in any way they possibly can. We've got Eastern Archers here on the front line. We've got some broken Eastern Archers with 0 kills, which is really rough, but they have fallen against the might of the Swaby archers. We got more Eastern Archers firing into the archers of Swaby, the longbow hunters trying to keep them back, keep them away from our forces. I got my general going out to try and get some of these archers, but the Swaby general, I saw him previously. He's inside of this forest over here, plus with the Seleucid general nearby, I gotta be extra careful with my general, but my ally's doing a great job of trying to hold back those archers so that way his troops can start getting as many kills as possible and doing as much damage as possible, and getting some great flanking fire on these club levy because they're kind of turned to the side and turned around. They'll be able to get a lot of kills against these troops as well. Over on the other side as well here, we've got some mysterious towers over on this side, so we got to keep a lookout. I did send my general out, and I did see that they had some thorax swords, but I don't know what else they might have back here in the trees. But the Seleucid's being a little sneaky here and keeping a lot of forces in the back in reserve for a push later on in the battle. So I'm going to keep some of my thorax swordsmen here close by so I can quickly charge up and defend this wall if need be. And my Scorpion right now isn't doing anything. He's got a great angle over on this side, but our opponents are doing a great job of not attacking this side and not falling for the trap that is my ballista. Over here, we've got the Celtic Warrior combination between the Celtic Warriors and the Axemen holding off valiantly against these Thorax Swordsmen, really just trying to get as much damage off on these Thorax Swordsmen as we can. I've got my archers starting to fire into the flanks of these Club Levy, trying to support my ally in any way, shape, or form that I possibly can as well. And luckily, we are starting to break some more of these Club Levies, so our opponents are going to start having to charge up some more troops. Hex Bearers, Sword Masters, whatever they might have. But the Seleucids have brought in their Persian light archers to be able to support this front line. So we'll see. We got to be extra careful about that because we are out archered in this battle. We've got a lot of very light archers in this battle, so we got to be careful against. I mean, they've got a lot of light archers as well. I don't know. Maybe it is pretty even now that I think about it. A lot of Eastern archers, a lot of light archers, so we'll see. I'm trying to quickly get my archers back out of here, but the sheer amount of archer fire that's going into these mercenary Gallic warriors was just too much for them to handle, and they're going to instantly shatter, and that is huge. They had 76 kills. They still had a little bit of ammo left. Luckily, I was able to use a decent amount of their ammo, but they still had a decent amount of ammo left, so that is going to be a huge loss for me. My Massilian Theros Spears are trying to hold this front line over here. My Celtic Warriors are getting absolutely melted by these archers, getting a lot of kills on my forces just because it's sword side and their flanks are shown. So whenever you're shooting at units, so in this case, I made a huge mistake. I was showing my sword side to these archers. If archers shoot into the sword side of Celtic Warriors, I was trying to utilize them to fire into the sides of these Thorax swords. But if archers shoot into the sword side, then the person that they're shooting at is going to take a whole lot more damage as well because they don't have that shield to protect their sides. And especially because they got a nice little flanking shot as well. A lot of kills on those archers. Great move by those Eastern archers. Really just doing a lot of damage. Now I got some Massilian Thureos spears shooting into the shield side and flanks of these Thorax swords, just trying to break them as quickly as possible to really give this Axeman more of a chance to be able to continue to do as much damage as they possibly can. Thorax swordsmen with 142 kills so far and 51 men remaining. All of these Thorax swords, 92, 90, 99. We've got 121. They're doing pretty good. If I do say so for my opponents, they're doing pretty good at getting some good kills against these guys. Over on... Oh, I'm sorry. I thought somebody was calling me. Over on my opponent's side, the Axe Boys, we've got some archers, the longbow hunters from Swaby firing into the sides, into the flanks of some of these Cardi Axemen. But we've got some of the elite Persian archers, the more elite archers in the fray, ready to fire into Swaby's archers and hopefully take them out here pretty quick, and they are getting absolutely melted. If they can take out these archers and keep them from being able to fire into these flanks, then that would be huge for our team, absolutely huge. And now we've got the Noble Riders quickly moving up to be able to try and make sure that these Royal Cataphracts don't move up and get a whole bunch of archer kills. We've even got some fire ammo going into these guys as well. I have a feeling that these Cardi Axemen are going to take a lot of damage, but not nearly as much damage as I would have thought, because they are getting, I mean, they're getting shot in the sword side, but they really do have their flanks shown, and they've got 4 units of archers firing into them at the same time. I'm honestly very surprised that they're not getting more kills. And we've got the 1 unit of elite Persian archers actually forcing these archers to start to fall back, which is beautiful to see. 1 unit of archers forcing 4 archers to fall back is always a good sight to see. Now we've got the Axemen holding valiantly on the front line, as well as my Celtic warriors trying to support these forces as much as we possibly can against the forces of the Thorax swordsmen of these Seleucids. We've even got some more Axemen. Are these regular Axemen? Cardi Axemen starting to move into the fray and start trying to get some kills against these Thorax swordsmen, especially with that charge bonus. We've got this Syracuse player moving in his archers to try and support us as much as he can, but he is out-archered in this battle and is going to break here relatively quickly. They are just getting absolutely melted, these poor bastards. And yeah, they're not going to be too long for this world. Over here, we've got the Eastern archers trying to move up to be able to support their ally as well, but they are getting absolutely peppered by the Pontus archers. These Eastern archers really doing a number on our troops, keeping our archers back and making sure that they cannot fire into their forces, which is huge for the attacking forces. Over here in the center area, We've got a huge battle that has ensued. I've got actually some Thorax swordsmen. I was about to say the Thoreos spears, but Thorax swordsmen charging into the fray to be able to fight against the Pontic sword. Moving in some more of my elite troop. I'm a mid-tier army, so Thorax swordsmen are going to be more of my elite troops in this battle. So in this case, I'm actually starting to get my elite troops in the fray to be able to fight against the mighty Pontic swordsmen. Try to get as many kills as I possibly can, continue to cycle charge, and really weaken them as much as I possibly can. But Pontus still has a decent amount of troops. We've got Thoreo spears, we've got bronze shield pikemen. I know that the Seleucids also brought pikemen. I'm not quite sure where they... Oh, there we go. Now, the Seleucids have 2 units of pikemen. Pontus has 2 units of bronze shield pikemen. I mean, pikemen all around, which is huge. And then over here, we've got the Seleucids utilizing their Persian light archers to be able to really fire into the flanks of some of these axemen and Cardii axemen and get a lot of kills on these guys. But the Cardii axemen having 294 kills so far, beginning to break, and the axemen having 203. Definitely not bad. If they should fall from archer fire, at least they were able to get a lot of kills first, which is always a good thing. Hexbearers almost gone. 7 out of 80 men remaining, being engaged by this unit of axemen with 101 men remaining. Really just trying to continue to put pressure on these troops and take out as many of these forces as they possibly can. Over here, we've got the Thorax Swordsman with 140 kills so far, beginning to break against the might of our combined forces over here. Celtic Warriors really just trying to do what they can to hold the line while the Axemen continue to cycle in and out and get a whole bunch of kills against these forces. Our Axe allies really doing some great work against these forces. If I had had more battlefield situational awareness, I really wish I did, because I would have moved archers over here to be able to support my ally, because these archers are a pain in the ass, and they're going to be able to get a decent amount of kills against these forces. So I do apologize to my ally there, Hyena. Sorry I didn't notice it. I'm sorry I wasn't as useful over on your side, because my archers over here, they were getting some decent kills. They were trying to support as much as I could, just trying to keep the opponent's archers on this front line back. But if I could have taken out these archers, I feel like I could have saved a lot of your men too. But now we've got some artillery actually starting to fire into here. I don't know. Oh, it's actually the mobile artillery, the German Onager from Swaby, starting to fire into this fray, really trying to get as many kills as they possibly can, starting to fire into the front lines and try to weaken them as much as they can. We've got the Seleucid Persian light archers, 19 out of 120 men left, still alive somehow, breaking from the might of the elite Persian archers with 172 kills so far, and still having ammo. This one unit of archers is doing an amazing job of harassing our opponent's archers and really getting a decent amount of kills. And now we've got what's left of these Cardii Axemen and regular Axemen firing into the charging into the Sword Masters and trying to get as many kills as they possibly can, just trying to utilize their weakened troops to be able to weaken their elite troops of Swaby and keep them back as well. Oop, I didn't mean to click that. I meant to click K. But yeah, now that artillery actually got into my Celtic Warriors, got a couple of kills. I got my depleted unit of Celtic Warriors quickly moving up to be able to try and hold this front line while we get some more troops up. I believe at this point we've got some Thoreo spears from Syracuse beginning to move up. I'm going to hopefully start moving my Thorax swords over ASAP. But over on the center line, since we haven't looked over here in a little bit, the Mercenary Celtic Warriors with 86 kills so far. We got my Massilian Thero Spears with 96 kills and my Thorax Swordsman with 120 kills so far. Really just trying to do work against these forces and break as many of them as we can. And with the supporting archer fire from the Eastern Archers, this is huge. Absolutely huge for our troops. And we've actually got a unit of pikemen over here in the fray, 156 out of 60 men. We're going to start utilizing all of our range forces to focus down this pikeman and try to take them out. Cardii Axemen starting to break against the pike's long spears of death. Oh, we got to be extra careful about that one. But those long spears are super, super... They hurt a lot. And now we've got a lot of ranged fire coming in from Pontus trying to support their allies, pikemen, and try to make sure that they stay alive for as long as possible. Moving in to be able to fire into my Peltis, into my Gallic hunters, and into the archers, just trying to stop us from being able to fire into these pikemen. We are starting to be pushed back here a little bit, but it's more of a bend but do not break strategy. There's a little bit of a gap there that they might be able to utilize, so we shall see. And we've even got the Thoreo spears starting to fire into these mercenary Gallic hunters. which is going to be really rough. I think this is the Gallic Hunter unit that still had a decent amount of ammo as well, so if I lose that, that's going to be a huge loss. And the Pelta still having ammo. We're really just trying to break these pikemen, get them out of here so they just don't, because they will get a lot of kills if we can't flank them or if we can't fire into them as well. Thoreo Spears starting to fire in. We've got the Thoreo Spears from Pontus starting to charge around, utilizing that gap to get around the flanks of our troops. Thorax Swordsman, along with the combined might of our ranged forces, finally breaking that unit of pikemen, but now we've got Pontic Swordsman moving into the fray to be able to continue to put pressure against these forces. Thoreo Spears fighting against Thoreo Spears. Which spear is better? The world may never know. And now we've got archers really firing into the Peltas as well. I was trying to move them up so that way hopefully I could fire into these archers and get a lot of kills on them. But I just didn't have the range, so I'm going to go ahead and fall back and save my Peltas for another day because they do still have a little bit of ammo left. These Cardii Axemen doing a great job of holding off against the elite sword masters of Swaby. 50 kills so far, but really their main objective here is to really just hold off these forces. We've got some elite Persian archers that are completely out of ammo, which is beautiful to see because the longbow hunters are wasting a ton of ammo on those archers. Which are actually going to get a flanking charge on those Thoreo Spears, which is beautiful to see. Hopefully they'll be able to get a little bit of kills. And there's going to be a little bit of friendly fire going into the Thoreo Spears from the archers of Swavia as well. So win-win situation here, firing at a unit of archers that's out of ammo and getting a little bit of friendly fire on those Thoreo Spears. So hopefully they'll be able to support our allies' Thoreo Spears and be able to do some great damage here. Over here, I have my Pelta still in the front line. We're going to go ahead and fall back because our opponents are still just doing such a good job with their archers and keeping back our ranged units. We are going to start to kind of fall back here a little bit. We're starting to fall over here on this side a little bit. The Thoreo Spears showing their sides, and sadly, they're showing their spear sides as well. So if they start taking some fire, then they're going to take a lot of losses. Over here on the front line or on the middle line, we're still doing a great job of holding off these forces. We've got some pikemen quickly moving in, but we were prepared for it. We had a lot of ranged troops close by, so now we're going to go ahead and utilize as much of the ammo that we possibly can to be able to fire into these pikemen and just get rid of them, because we really don't want to deal with them. But we still have to deal with 2 units of Bronze Shield pikemen, which are very expensive, very powerful, very elite units. And I mean, just look at them. They are absolutely gorgeous. I just realized my page up and stuff is still down. There we go. But yeah, the Broad Shield pikemen are absolutely gorgeous, and we still have to deal with them, so we'll have to be extra careful. But yeah, now we've got some flanking fire on these Thoreo Spears, trying to support our Syracuse ally as much as my ally possibly can with his archers, his 2 units of Eastern archers, getting a lot of great flanking fire on these troops, really helping to break them. Syracuse is starting to break over here on the front line. We don't really have any troops to be able to move up and help him out. The Thorax Swordsmen are going to try to hold off for as long as they possibly can, but there is a gap, a really good opportunity to be able to flank some of these forces, so hopefully our opponents don't notice that, but it's a pretty big hole, and I'm sure that they'll be able to notice it here sooner rather than later. Those pikemen did actually break, so we have successfully taken out 2 units of pikemen, which is absolutely huge for us. Really just trying to get those pikemen out so they can't get nearly as many kills. We've got the Thero Spears forming square to try to give our units a little bit of an opportunity to be able to fire in to the sides of these Pontic Swordsmen and hopefully break them here a little bit. Reforming our units a little bit so they'll be able to get some more good fire on these troops. These guys I don't believe have any ammo, but we're just kind of forming a little bit of a triangle formation, but really just trying to get into a good position to be able to fire into these guys. I don't know what I was doing, but I accidentally moved my Krieg Scorpion to the front line. I think they were over here and I told them to fire something, and then they're like, oh, move up this way? Okay. So yeah, now they're all the way over there too. Now I've got my unit of fresh Thorax Swordsmen running into the fray here. Running into the fray, trying to block off these troops. They're actually going to go ahead and fall back now that they've gotten some of their peel up, reform the lines here to a better position. So we are kind of falling back here a little bit, but we're going to reform these lines so that way we've got a slightly better position, and we can hopefully hold off these guys for a little bit. But now with my unit of Thorax Swords mixed with my allies' unit of Thorax Swords, hopefully we'll be able to get some decent kills. And Swaby still having some elite forces left, is just kind of going over here on the flank and continuously harassing us, as well as trying to support as many different angles as they possibly can. These Pontic swordsmen are going to take a little bit of fire. We've got the Thoreo spears of my ally starting to fire into these guys. We've got the Greek Scorpion of mine starting to actually take a lot of fire, so they might fall here relatively quickly. They are beginning to break. Can I get them out in time, or will they collapse to the sheer amount of archer fire that's going into them? They will. The Greek Scorpion still had a decent amount of ammo as well, so that's a huge loss for us. Well done by our opponents here. Eastern Archers, the 161 kills out of ammo. Luckily, our opponents are kind of running out of ammo here. These archers have 210 kills, still with ammo left, but I can't imagine they have that much ammo left as well. Over here, I did see an opportunity. Their pikes were in a weird formation before. I was going to try to charge in and get rid of some of these archers and stuff, but they did see my little general push. So I am going to go ahead and fall back my general and look for a different opportunity to be able to hopefully get rid of some of these archers. Over here, we've got the Seleucid player finally moving up some of these thorax swordsmen onto the towers to be able to start pushing up on this side. I see this, and I'm going to move up my 2 units of thorax swordsmen I still had in reserve to be able to hold them back. I asked my ally if he can move up some archers to be able to support me as well, because I assumed that he was going to move up automatically, but sadly, he is just going to kind of sit there and wait for a better opportunity to move in his forces while the rest of his allies continue to push against us over on this side. Over here, we're still holding this kind of flanking position. Thorax Sword with 97 kills so far. This Thorax Sword with 183 kills. I'm still just kind of continuing to cycle them out and try to get charge bonuses and try to do as much damage as I possibly can. Try to take out these Pontic swordsmen. Looking at the rest of the forces, Pontus still has a decent amount of troops, but a lot of his troops have seen battle, have seen a lot of fighting, so his troops are pretty weakened. He's got some severely weakened Pontic swordsmen over here, a relatively healthy Pontic swordsman over here, some archers. I don't know, these archers still have ammo, but I can't imagine they have that much ammo left, and we've got the artillery over here starting to fire into us and get some great kills. Let's see how many kills this artillery, and I do really respect this as well. They didn't bring this artillery to purely just shotgun. They brought this artillery to get a closer shot and to be able to continue to fire into us even if we retreated back to the back line. So kudos to my opponents. Oh shit, there we go. I saw an opportunity with my general. There was a gap right here. I'm moving through it to be able to get into these archers to try and get as many kills as I possibly can. I'm going to charge into these archers. These archers still have ammo, so I'm going to go ahead and move my general through and try to get into these archers as well. Try to get as many kills as I possibly can, breaking one unit of archers, catching another one. Now my general is going to get charged by the Pontic general, but I was able to successfully take out some of these archer forces and keep them from continuing to fire into our forces. Was it worth it, though? I mean, getting 114 kills so far on archers, I don't know if that was necessarily worth it. I think that I could have done a lot more, but it was the opportunity that I saw. My ally also trying to get his forces through, but these guys were in shield wall, so he wasn't able to fully get them through. He was going to charge them around while my general was distracting the rest of the forces to get these Swaby units, but he is going to go ahead and get his cav out of here and save his cav for another day. And my general is going to fall. My general has fallen. My morale is lowered. So that is going to definitely affect us. I don't know if it was worth it, but it sure as hell was fun to see. Always fun to see some crazy plays attempting to be played in any sort of battle. But yeah, the combined forces, the Pontic general as well as the Seleucid general fighting against my general, definitely was more than enough to be able to take out my general. Plus, Swaby had archer fire going into my general as well to be able to take them out. We've even got some Thoreo spears from the Seleucid players still over here. We've got 3 units of Thoreo spears over here. I think they still have ammo as well, so we got to be extra careful about that. But yeah, we're still holding this front line over here. We've got my Thorax swordsman depleted, still trying to hold off against these Pontic swords. We've even got some side fire from the Thoreo spears going into the Pontic swordsman. And now these Pontic swords are going to completely break, shatter. And now that they've broken, I was going to try to charge my Peltus through to get into these archers, but Pontus kind of saw what we're doing and decided to move in his fresh unit of Pontic swordsmen into the fray to be able to block us. I'm going to charge in my Peltus to try to block the Pontic swords, so that way hopefully it'll leave a gap for what's left of my Thorax Swordsman to move through and maybe get some kills on these archer forces. I don't know. I wanted to try to get rid of these Eastern Scorpion if I could, because he still has a lot of ammo and it can definitely still do a lot of damage against my forces. So I'm going to go ahead and move my Thorax Swordsman through this gap and start trying to move towards this Eastern Scorpion, hoping that they weren't noticed. But the Pontic General did notice, and there's no way that I'm going to be able to get into that fight. So my Thorax Swordsmen are going to go ahead and break here from being flanking charged from that cavalry. So I'm just going to go ahead and charge into the back of the Pontic Swordsman and try to do as much damage as I possibly can before those Thorax Swordsmen break. So those Scorpions are going to be able to continue to rain fire upon our troops and do a lot of damage. My ally over here sending his general to try and stop these hex bearers from taking this gate, just trying to continue to cycle charge into these forces and try to get as many kills as he possibly can, trying to maintain control of this gate while we try to get some forces over here to be able to hold the line. I got my depleted unit, or my mercenary Gallic hunters, which are completely out of ammo with 116 kills, quickly moving them over here to be able to try and hold off this area. Keep our opponents from being able to take this gate, so that way these gate towers will continue to fire into these troops and continue to do damage against them, because the more free kills that we can get from a free defensive building is the better. I mean, as long as we can continue to get kills with those towers, then it'll be huge for us. Thorax Swordsman holding valiantly against the Sword Masters. I'm hoping that we still have a little bit of ammo. Yep, the archers are going to go ahead and start getting some great fire into the sword sides of these Sword Masters. Start weakening them, hopefully getting a lot of kills with 140 kills so far, still having ammo. Hopefully they'll be able to get a decent amount of kills, but they are being counter-archerified by some of the Pontic archers and Swaby archers that are over here on the front line too. Over here, I did send over a fresh unit of Thorax Swordsmen to be able to hold back these Thoreo Spears. I am going to go ahead and fall back my Thorax Swordsmen into a better position for these archers to hopefully get some side fire. Because I do see that these 3 units of Thorax Swords are moving up and onto the walls. So I'm hoping that we can get some great side fire and hopefully get some great kills against these archers as well. I've still got this Celtic warrior in the fray, or not in the fray, but over on this flank, holding this side, making sure that our opponents cannot move in on this side. And our opponents are actually keeping 2 units back, a Thoreo Spear and a Bronze Shield Pikeman back, to be able to make sure that my Celtic Warriors can't do anything, so that's perfect for us. I mean, even if they're not necessarily in the fight, at least we're keeping back units, so hopefully those units can't get nearly as many kills. I do need to go ahead and send back a Thorax Swordsman from this front line, so I'm only going to have 1 Thorax Swordsman holding this flank, but I need to send it back to be able to help support these front lines, because I see that our ally is starting to break here a little bit. We've got a gap over here for our opponents to be able to start taking. We're actually going to go ahead and start falling back with what little is left of our troops. Thorax Swordsman is going to go ahead and fall back. We've got 2 units of Mercenary Samnite Warriors over here as well. The Royal Cataphract General is going to start to fall back. My Thorax Swordsmen are in the fray against these Thoreo Spears, so hopefully they'll be able to get a little bit of kills. But yeah, it looks like we are starting to fall back here a little bit. Our allies are starting to move up some archer forces to be able to help support this front line, because we're still holding the front line, but we won't be able to hold it indefinitely. So if we can continue to hold it for as long as possible and get as many kills as we possibly can, that would be huge. Some friendly fire coming in from the Thoreo Spears of the Seleucids against these Pontic Swordsmen, which is beautiful to see. Thorax Swordsman, oh my god, we got 1 Thorax Swordsman fighting against the Swordmaster. I don't know who's going to win here. Man, this is an intense battle. The Swordmaster... Ooh, oh shit, wrong button. The Swordmaster and the Thorax Swordsman duking it out. Oh my goodness. Another one of his Swordmaster brothers are coming in to be able to help him out, seeing that he's really kind of struggling there, and giving him a quick poke in the eye and taking him out. What an intense battle by those Thorax Swordsmen. Now we've got the general unit starting to charge in here, getting into some of these archer forces, stopping the Thoreo Spears from being able to fire in. Hopefully these archers still had ammo. It looks like they might have, but yeah, these guys are going to start getting some great kills, get a quick charge in, and now he's going to go ahead and fall back. I got a unit of Thorax Swordsmen starting to move up. I should have just fallen him back, but I'm moving up to the front line to continue to try to help my ally to hold it. But he doesn't have very many troops left. I mean, 34 out of 160 and 71 out of 60 left. Not really too many troops left to be able to hold that front line. I should have just fallen back with these guys, but I wanted to save. I was feeling heroic, and I wanted to save my allies' forces. So I was going to go ahead and move up, throw some Pila. I'm going to fall back And now I'm going to charge in again to try to get some more Pila in. And now the Thoreo Spears are going to start charging into me, so I can't continue to cycle charge. I'm going to hopefully get into the fray and start getting some good kills against these guys. Hopefully my Thorax Swordsman can hold off long enough. This unit of depleted Thorax Swordsman from Syracuse is going to go ahead and start falling back behind my Thorax Swordsman. I've got my fresh unit of Thorax Swords in the fray, trying to hold off this blob so that way these guys get the hell out of dodge. And even here on the middle line, which we were holding so valiantly, we are starting to break. We've got Bronze Shield Pikemen in the fray, having taken a little bit of losses, just kind of holding line. We've got the Pontic Swordsman holding valiantly against the Thoreo Spears. I've got my Celtic Warriors and my Thorax Swordsman trying to get the hell out of dodge, get back into the center so that way we could hold the center line. Over here, the Thoreo Spears fighting valiantly against my Thorax Swordsman. They are starting to lose. They are very tired compared to my tired Thorax Swordsman. So hopefully my Thorax Swords... How many times can you say Thorax Swords in one battle? Like, holy shit. But yeah, they're going to be able to fight it out, and hopefully I'll be able to break these Thoreo Spears. Right now, I can only hope that my troops that are still outside of that center area can just continue to get as many kills against these forces as they possibly can. I'm going to try to turn around. I wanted to turn around and get some peel off against the Pontic Royal Cavalry, but they didn't throw it for some reason. So I was hoping that I could get peel off and kill as much of this cavalry as I possibly can. They're going to get a couple of kills, but without that Pila, they're not going to be able to get as much as I would have wanted them to. Now we've got the general, my allied general, the Royal Cataphract, sneaking around here, getting ready to be able to get some, hopefully get some good charges off against some forces. We got the Thoreo Spears starting to break against the might of the Thorax Swordsman. I've got this unit of Thorax Swordsman beginning to run back. The Celtic Warriors successfully getting back into the central area. We've still got a unit of Cardii Axemen in here as well. 2 units of Mercenary Samurai Warriors, a couple of depleted troops, Thoreo Spears, and Thorax Swordsmen. So we'll see. We'll see. We still got some forces, but we do have 3 units of fresh Thorax Swordsmen that we have to deal with. I mean, a lot of the forces of the defenders are extremely weakened right now. We've got primarily archers from Swaby left, as well as 1 sword master. Pontus, 2 units of fresh pikemen, as well as a depleted unit of Pontic swordsmen and their Eastern Scorpion left. The main forces that we really have to worry about is the Seleucids and those Bronze Shield pikemen. I mean, we do have... Do we have archers? These archers are completely out of ammo. Do these archers still have ammo? We've still got 1 archer with ammo with 62 kills. So, I mean, we've got archers to be able to fire into... do these archers still have ammo? These archers still have ammo as well. So we've still got a couple of archers to be able to fire into the pikemen. So we will see. Hopefully they'll be able to get some kills. But we shall definitely see the Royal Cataphracts charging into these forces, trying to keep all of these guys from being able to charge into the flanks of my Thorax Swords, really trying to give them the opportunity to be able to continue to hold. Now the cavalry is going to charge into the Persian Light Archers, which had flanked around me, to be able to finish them off, break them, and allow my Thorax Swordsmen to continue to fight the good fight against these Thoreo Spears. We've got the general unit, the Noble Riders of Swaby, close behind, ready to move in at a moment's notice. We've got the general unit of my allies, the Hippeus Lancers, in here as well, ready to be able to start trying to do some damage. So we've still got 2 units of good cavalry, but so do our opponents. They've still got 3 units, because remember, my general's gone. He's dead. So we're down 1 unit of good cavalry, but my Thorax Swordsmen are going to try to hold against the Noble Riders, but they are in shield wall, but they're just not going to be able to do it. I was hoping that they wouldn't charge for a little bit so I could recapture this gate, and hopefully utilize this gate to kill this general, but my Thorax Swordsmen just were not able to raise the flag in time and are sadly going to break against the might of Swaby's Noble Rider General. Over here, we've got the Royal Cataphract General, actually seeing some open archers. He's going to go ahead and charge in. Hopefully, he'll be able to get some great kills against these archers. He's going to charge in. There's going to be a little bit of a counter charge from the Seleucids, but the general is in the fray. Hopefully, he'll be able to get a lot of kills against those archers. That general getting 300 kills. Oh my goodness, doing a great job of getting some great kills. We got a little bit of lag there. But yeah, the general's in the fray with the archers. He's going to be countercharged by 2 of the enemy's generals, but it was a suicide charge to try and take out some of the ranged capabilities of our opponents. and he is gonna go ahead and break. 18 men remaining, 347 kills so far. Can he make it to 350? 350. Can he make it to 360? I don't know. He's fallen way too quickly. 352, 353. Come on, 6 men left. 4, nah, 353. Still some great kills on that general. And now our opponents need to reform, get set up, get ready to be able to engage with our central area. And I do get distracted here a little bit, so it's really funny, and almost lose us the game right off the bat. But yeah, while they're setting up, while they're getting ready to attack us again, guys, I will go ahead and cut the video here, and we will be back whenever they start to attack us. All right, guys, and we are back. So it looks like Pontus is going to go ahead and start moving up some forces. They've just been kind of harassing us with some archer fire and scorpion fire so far. So it looks like the Pontic swordsmen are going to go ahead and start moving up and starting to try to engage with the thorax swordsman of the Syracuse player. I was distracted. I was actually live streaming this battle live at twitch.tv/CAPN4IS. I'm just saying, come and give me a follow if you want to see my sexy face and hear my sexy voice in real time. But I did get distracted, so luckily they weren't able to push in time, but I almost lost us the battle because they almost were able to push in without any sort of resistance. So I quickly moved in my thorax swordsman, formed them up to try and hold off our opponents. And now I'm going to go ahead and move in my Celtic warriors over to the side to be able to get a little bit of side fire into the opponent's thorax swordsman as well, because they are showing their flanks over here. They're trying to utilize this tiny little gap over here. Well, since they're moving in, I'm gonna go ahead and try and get some Peltas fire over here. But luckily they were able to fall back in time, so I'm gonna go ahead and move up my Celtic warriors to try and start getting some fire down from the walls and into our opponents here. But now this is the fight for the finish line. We've got the mercenary Samnite warriors holding valiantly over on this side. We've got the Cardii Axemen starting to come back. We've still got the general. We've got another unit of mercenary Samnite warriors as well, and my thorax swordsmen doing everything in their power to be able to hold off these forces. And unfortunately for us, our opponents were smart enough to burn down this arrow tower, so the arrow tower is going to get burned down. It is not going to support us in this fight, because that would have been huge for us, absolutely huge for us. And those bronze shield pikemen are still waiting like sharks in deep water, waiting for their opportunity to be able to strike and take us out. So those guys are very scary. But right now, we just have to focus on the thorax swords of the Seleucid player, all of these longbow hunters, the Pontic swordsmen. I mean, they've got everything in the fray right now, really just trying to break through our forces with their sheer numbers. Celtic warriors with 24 kills so far, trying to do whatever they can to be able to hold this front line. I'm just going to continue to cycle charge, get some charge bonuses in, and hopefully get some good kills against our opponents here. I've got some archer fire support from my ally with 75 kills so far, firing into this great blob of troops, trying to pick off any forces that they can. Almost reminds me of the siege. Why can't I remember what the fort is called? The second Lord of the Rings movie. It reminds me of that siege when the gate is open and you've got archers firing down, trying to stop them from moving in. You've got elves trying to hold them back. I mean, all kinds of different things too. It's just like, oh, such a beautiful scene, but so many forces. And we've even got some mercenary Samnite warriors starting to fire into the German Onager unit. Great usage of that unit from Swaby, really forcing my ally to waste his ammunition, because it's hard to really get them to use their ammo exactly where you want them to. So definitely a great use. And now we've got the thorax swordsman starting to move up. My thorax swordsman still trying to hold valiantly, trying to get as many kills as they possibly can. I've got my Celtic warriors moving onto the side. I do believe they still have ammo. I'd really hope that they do, because if they do, this is some juicy target right here. Hopefully they can get some good kills against them. Please have ammo, please have ammo, please have ammo, please have ammo. Yes! There we go, yes. Get some good kills against these guys, firing into them. And now we've got the archers firing into them as well. I'm going to go ahead and countercharge. They're going to go ahead and charge into my Celtic warriors. I'm going to countercharge to be able to plug that gate. Now we've got Pontus trying to utilize that gap right there as well. My Cardii Axemen brethren are going to go ahead and countercharge them and try to get some good kills against those swords. All the while, my thorax swords are still trying to hold valiantly against this huge blob of troops. Now we've got the Thorax Swordsman starting to break. We've got some great flanking archer fire from my allies over here. These guys are sadly out of ammo, so it's all up to these archers to be able to take out those pikemen and take out any forces that try to do this and flank around us as well. But yeah, they're really trying to flank around, really spreading us out, forcing us. My ally actually dismounted his Hippeus Lancer General to be able to hold off this central force. So now I'm going to go ahead and get my Thorax Swords out of here. While the general's holding off that center area, I'm going to get him out of there to be able to hopefully start getting some good flanks on these Thorax Swords, or flanks just somewhere to be able to get some good kills. These Thorax Swordsmen are going to start to break. I'm going to fall them back, get them out of the fight, rest them up for just a second, so that way, there we go. They are no longer wavering. This general, this Hippeus Lancer General, is fighting valiantly against these forces. My Celtic warriors, combined with the archer fire of my ally, have broken those Thorax Swords, so now they're going to charge into these Thorax Swordsmen, and we're starting to push them back just a little bit now as well. The general with 74 men left, 49 kills so far, holding valiantly against these sword masters. Here come the pikemen. Now we've got 2 units of pikemen starting to move up to be able to engage with us, and we do still have some archers, so the archers are going to go ahead and fire into the pikes. Hopefully they'll be able to get some kills against them. So far, the first volley hasn't done anything. These Thorax Swordsmen are starting to break. We've got Rally, which increases the melee defense and the morale. Oh my goodness, we got Race Banner, melee defense, and Rally to increase the morale, keeping their troops from being able to break. We got the Mercenary Samurai Warriors in the fray trying to help break these forces as well. Actually in the fray with some of these Bronze Shield Pikemen. Just trying to get a little bit of kills against these guys, take as many of them out as possible, because right now we got to take whatever advantage that we can. Archer fire now starting to go into the flanks of some of these Bronze Shield Pikemen as well, hopefully getting a little bit extra kills. Samurai Warriors doing a great job. Swordmasters getting flanked here just a little bit. The Cardi Axemen are going to go ahead and move in. I'm going to move out my Thorax Swordsman to be able to give them more of a charging chance, but this is an insane battle, guys. Just so many forces to take out. It just seems like it's endless, wave after wave. The Cardi Axemen are going to get a nice little flanking charge against these Sword Masters, hopefully get a decent amount of kills against them. Cartlii Axemen having 61 kills so far, still with 114 men left. Hopefully they can continue to rack up those kills. I've got my Thorax Swordsman fighting valiantly against Seleucid Thorax Swordsman and Swabi's Sword Masters, really just trying to break these units so that way we have a better opportunity to be able to flank some of these pikemen. Pikemen in the fray now starting to poke their long sticks into my Thorax Swords. If we can... We've got even more Rally. We've got more Raised Banner going into these guys as well, really keeping them in the fray, which is huge for our opponents. That it's huge that they actually took this. But the Samnite Warriors are doing a great job of chopping down these Thorax Swordsmen. We've still got another fresh unit of Samnite Warriors over here holding off the flank, preparing. We've got a Noble Rider unit as well as a Light Cavalry unit from the Seleucids moving around. Our flank is relatively exposed. We've got some archers down here falling back to be able to try and hold back any cav that dare to come and fight them. So we'll see. Hopefully we can hold them long enough to be able to continue to do damage against these forces. Bronze Shield Pikemen starting to fall back. We've got a nice little flank against these Sword Masters, just trying to get these guys broken because they are doing a number on our forces. 69 giggity men left in my Thorax Swordsman. 54 men left in these Thorax Swordsmen. The Sword Master starting to lose some men as well. We're just continuously trying to get some flanking charges, get those charge bonuses in. We've got the archers of our ally beginning to break. We've even got the general, the Agama Cavalry General moving in, starting to fight against these forces. But we really need to get these Thorax Swordsmen broken, as well as those Sword Masters broken. We've even got some fire coming in. Thoreo Spear still having ammo firing into my Celtic Warriors to be able to try and break them. I'm going to charge in my Celtic Warriors, get my Thorax Swordsman out of there to try and get a nice little charge bonus off on these Thorax Swordsmen. Just really trying to break these guys, because if we can break these guys, that would be huge. The Thorax Swordsman, there we go. Now we've got Intimidate to hopefully... Oh my god, and then we've got Rally again, Intimidate going in. I mean, dude, these Thorax Swordsmen would have broken a long time ago, but they have Rally, which is just insane. Who brings Rally? I mean, oh my goodness, that was huge for our opponents. Huge. So now, yeah, Thorax Swordsmen are going to get kind of flanking charge from these Sword Masters. They're going to try to counter charge and take out these Sword Masters, but They are tired. So are the Swordmasters, but they are outclassed in this battle as well. Now we got the Cardii Axemen, which are active, charging into the Thorax Swordsmen, just trying to keep them from being able to get into our flanks. The Bronze Shield Pikemen starting to move up and start to try to poke these Cardii Axemen and get as many kills as they possibly can. We've got the general unit, the Hippeus Lancer General, starting to move in and try to charge into these Sword Masters and break them. My Thorax Swordsmen are breaking, and that is my last unit, so I am about to be out of the battlefield. These guys have 136 kills. Swordmasters having almost 300, which is insane. But yeah, they are starting to waver, and I don't believe that they are going to survive this battle. With 38 men remaining, they have broken, and I am out of the battle. Now it is up to my allies. Cardii Axemen quickly charging into the Swordmasters, trying to break them, trying to get them off the battlefield. They have done enough damage. We need them to die. We need them to die. 299 kills. Will they make it to 300? I don't see why not. Yep, 300 kills so far. Now we've got the General actually charging into the flank of these pikemen, trying to get some kills against them. It's the only way that we can take them out now is if we can get into the flank of them. Still, the Mercenary Samnites doing what they can to hold off against them. Now we've got light cavalry from the Seleucid player starting to move up onto our flanks, move up that great ramp onto the flanks to be able to try and take us out. We got the Mercenary Samnite Warriors doing whatever they can to be able to hold back these forces, these reckless hate, and try to break as many of these units as they possibly can. We've got the General coming back, looking for a good opportunity to be able to charge into the pikemen. We've got the Cardii Axemen on the wall. Walls are Pike's weaknesses. If we can get the cavalry to charge into the flanks of these pikemen, that would be absolutely huge. Now we've got the Cardii Axemen starting to break while the pikemen are out of formation. Come on, cavalry, come on! Now we got the cavalry starting to move in, charge into the backs of these pikemen. They did charge into the backs of these ones, which, I mean, isn't necessarily bad. But we need to break these guys so the Cardii Axemen can be free. So they're going to go ahead and charge into the flanks of these pike. These Thorax swords are starting to break. The pikemen are hopefully going to start taking a lot of losses. We need them to die. The pikemen have 77 men left, 76 men left. The General is going to start to get the hell out of dodge. The Cardii Axemen are still on the wall fighting for their very lives, trying to break these pikemen. Will they be able to do it? I do not know. But these pikemen still have 148 men left. I mean, these pikemen on the walls are starting to break the Cardii Axemen with 43 men remaining with 129 kills. Hopefully this Cardii Axemen, now the Cardii Axemen are going to break. These cavalry have free reign over here on the victory point. These Mercenary Samnite Warriors are going to need to fall back here sooner rather than later if we're going to have a chance. These Mercenary Samnite Warriors are still holding valiantly against so many forces. Thorax Swordsmen, Thoreo Spears, Pontic Swordsmen, I mean everything and anything. They're really trying to do whatever they can to be able to try and get as many kills as they can and break as many units as they can. Still fighting the good fight. We got the Pontic Swordsmen exhausted, starting to break, beginning to waver. 31 men remaining. Mercenary Samnite Warriors holding valiantly against the rest of these forces. The pikemen starting to move around, try to get a little bit of a flanky panky on these Samnite Warriors with 178 kills, fighting valiantly against the Thorax Swordsmen of these Seleucids as well. We've got the General unit of Syracuse over here up top fighting against the Pontic Royal Cavalry and the Light Cavalry of the Seleucids. So much cavalry, and now we've got these Samnite Warriors quickly trying to move up and fight against the rest of this cav as well. Can the General hold off long enough for its troops to be able to move up and start getting some javelins into the flanks of the Pontic General? I do not know. He's got 22 men remaining. He is fighting valiantly, trying to get as many kills as he can. 20 men remaining, 19, 18. I don't know. He is beginning to waver. These troops need to continue to move up, starting to recapture this tower as well. He needs to move up and support his General. 15 men remaining. Can he get there in time? Over here, the Samnite Warriors have broken. The Seleucid Cav have successfully charged into their flanks and broken them. Now the Seleucid Cav is going to quickly try to move up and support his allies. We've got the Noble Riders starting to move in as well. It is just the Mercenary Samnite Warriors holding now. They're really just trying to hold off long enough. Maybe we could win by time. That is our hope. Can the Mercenary Samnite Warriors hold off long enough for us to be able to win by time? They are completely surrounded by cavalry, but they are elite forces of Syracuse, heavily armored. They may be mercenaries, but they have been trading their entire lives to be able to fight off hordes of opponents. Anybody that dares to throw their sword and their shield against them. Will they be able to hold, or will they fall like all of their brothers and sisters before them? We've got some pikemen quickly moving up. They're going to turn around and throw some pila into the pikemen. Now they're going to go ahead and turn around and fight against the cavalry. That was a good throw, trying to weaken as many troops with their pila as they possibly can. Now they are really completely surrounded. I mean, this is crazy. We've got some of them over here, some over here. They're starting to break. They're starting to waver, but can they recompose themselves? No. No, they cannot. And that is going to be the end of the battle, guys. That was insane. Such a good battle, such a close battle, and so many things that you don't normally see happened. So many units brought. Let's go ahead and end this replay and look at the kill count. Misatu, I don't know who Misatu is, but Pontus being the kill count of this match. Then we've got Hyena being in second place. We've got Rakdos being third place. We've got Rome being fourth place, me being fifth place, and then Yarug being in sixth place as far as kills go. Let's go ahead and look at my kills and Rome kills, aka Seleucid. Me getting 2007 kills, doing really good with the Hippeus Lancers, decently with the archers. I definitely could have done better with my archers. I did okay with the Thero Spears, Celtic Warriors. Those Thorax Swordsmen really carried during this game, though, for my army, getting some decent kills in some cases, over 200. Looking over at the Seleucid player, doing an amazing job with that light cavalry. Decent job with their archers, doing a pretty average job with their thorax, and overall just a great job of supporting their allies and saving their units for that final push. Looking at Hyena, the Axe Boys, and Pontus. We're going to go ahead and look at Hyena doing amazing with those archers, over 200 kills on two of the archers, one of them breaking early, which is very sad to see. But overall, those archers did great. The general getting 356 kills. Axeman doing some great work as well. And that Cardi Axeman almost getting 300 kills. Insane. Pontus overall doing a great job. 210 kills on those archers. Doing a great job with the archers, general, and scorpion. Some of those mercenary Celtic warriors and pikemen doing well. And their Pontic warriors overall doing really good as well. So great job by Pontus. Looking at Syracuse, Yarug, and Rakdos playing as Swaby. Yarug doing a good job with some of those thorax swordsmen, some of the archers, the general doing a good job. That one unit of mercenary Semnite warriors holding until the bitter end over on that choke point and getting some decent kills with the Thoreo spears. And last but certainly not least, we've got Swaby getting some great kills with the Onager 151. Doing well with the general, great with those longbow hunters right there, and then awesome with some of those sword masters as well. Overall, such a great battle, guys. Again, if you liked it, please be sure to hit that like button. If you loved it, hit that subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you sexy ass motherfuckers here in the next battle. Peace.